Hi and welcome back to another Duchenne rider training video. Last weekend we held a skills session in Richmond Park. If you came along, well done, that was amazing. What I'm going to try and do in this video is pick up two of the most common questions that myself and the other ride captains got asked during those sessions. The two things we're going to focus on in this video are nutrition. What should I be eating and drinking while I'm cycling? And secondly, am I in the right gear? No, not that sort of gear, this sort of gear. So let's start with gears. Why do bikes have gears in the first place? Well, you've probably realized by now that you have easier gears for going up hills and bigger gears that let you go fast if you're on the flat bits or downhill. But the reason is quite scientific, so I'll try and explain it in really simple terms. Basically, when you're cycling, as you pedal along, your body is converting the chemical energy that is stored inside from food into kinetic energy to turn the pedals. And the rate that happens is your power output. Now, when you're pedaling the bike, the power, if you use a power meter on the bike, is the multiplication of how hard you're pushing the pedals and how fast you're turning the pedals. So what that means is for a given amount of power that you're putting out, you could actually pedal slightly harder and slower or slightly faster, but not as hard on the pedals. And the challenge that your human body has is there's an optimum range for pedaling. If you think about it, if you pedal far too fast, 100 plus times a minute, it's really too fast to sustain that long term. Why? Because your heart has to keep pumping blood around your body and muscles have to expand and contract very often. But the reverse is true. If you pedal really, really, really slowly, it's like a power lifter. They do one rep and then that's them done until they have a rest period. So there's an optimum spot in the middle. For most people, that's between about 60 and 90 pedal revolutions per minute, or what we refer to as 60 to 90 cadence. And so what the gears allow you to do is to keep your pedaling in that range. And what I see a lot of novice riders doing is when they want to go faster, they push a lot harder on the pedals and don't increase their cadence. And that can be quite hard on the muscles. It can be quite fatiguing. So I generally say, try this when you're out on the road. Everyone has a different preferred cadence. Some people like grinding nice and slowly with a big push. Other people like pedaling nice and quickly. But often I see a lot of novices that would probably benefit from pedaling slightly faster. So the next time you've got to close a gap to someone in front, try both options. Try pushing a little bit harder and see how that feels. Do you get exhausted by the time you've caught that person in front of you? Or if you pedal faster, does that make it easier? Everyone's different, but that's definitely one thing I'd look at as a novice. Okay, the second thing we're going to talk about is nutrition. Lots and lots of questions about what should I eat and drink while cycling. So I'm going to try and give you some guidance. Now, again, I would caution everybody is different, right? If you're a big 18-stone rugby player that is in good physical condition, you've got a high metabolism, you're burning through a lot of energy, you probably need more than someone who's maybe a smaller petite rider. So everything I'm going to give you is this sort of average. Feel free to adjust that depending on your physiology. So we're going to start with drinking. By far the most important thing. Everyone will get dehydrated on the bike. And there's two situations that happens. One is when it's really hot. You need extra fluids, obviously, because you're sweating because of the heat. And the second thing that's deceptive is actually when it's cold. A cold, damp day in the UK, you're pedaling along, you don't really feel that you're sweating. You don't think you need to drink too much. You still do. If you think about it, if you've ever looked at your breath, you ever go, on a cold morning and you see that sort of little waft of water vapor. Every time you breathe out, you're breathing out water. So you do get dehydrated. So try and get through one of these an hour. Right, that's a good rule of thumb. So if you're going for a 2-hour ride, you need 2 bottles. If you're going for a 4-hour ride, you need to stop somewhere to fill your bottle. Again, obviously adjust that based on the conditions. Now, what goes in your bottle? Obviously, water's a great start. Everyone can drink water, no issues with that. The challenge is, as I said, particularly if you're working hard or it's a hot day, you're going to sweat, you're going to lose salts, you're going to lose electrolytes. And that's why you see a lot of these energy drinks that are marketed as isotonic. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can put in your drink, but I definitely recommend at least electrolytes. So I've been raiding my own little store. So here's an example of one. These are tablets. You put a tablet in your drink. These are from High Five. And they provide you with all the sodium, magnesium, etc. that will replace the salts that you lost. These ones include caffeine as well, which is great. Caffeine can benefit the muscles. Obviously, don't overdo it, but certainly from a fatigue perspective, caffeine has been demonstrated as being beneficial to muscles. You might also find this is a sachet. This is from Velo 40. This is not just electrolytes, but it also is energy as well. So there's a bunch of natural fruit products in this one. There are other brands available. They all have different mixes and flavors. Find one you like best. If you're not sure, go to your local bike shop. Ask other riders that you see what they use. The advantage of that is obviously it's going to give you some energy as well as just replace your electrolytes, which leads on to the next thing, which is about nutrition. Obviously, I talked about all that stored chemical energy getting converted away. It has to be replaced. The tanks will be empty otherwise. Now, roughly speaking, you have enough fuel in the tank for probably an hour and a half without any real difficulty. So I generally say if you're going on a ride up to an hour and a half, you don't need to take any additional nutrition with you. But I'd recommend you always keep one thing with you. Always keep a bar or gel or so on, and I'll show you a couple of examples in a second. Really useful. Sometimes you're just tired, you're hungry, you're fatigued. Sometimes someone's had a puncture, you've got to wait around a long time, you get hungry. So it's always good to have one thing with you just in case, even on a shorter ride. Obviously, if you're going on a longer ride, then you're going to have to take some fuel with you. So I generally say, if you're doing sort of a 2 to 3 hour ride, you need to start eating and fueling as you go. Now, if you think about it, this roughly speaking, the average person needs to consume 3 things per hour, and I'll show you what a thing is in a second. So that the electrolyte is not a thing. The carb that was in the second sachet, that would count as a thing. That's one dose of energy, if you like. Now, if you think about it, if you ride for 2 hours and don't consume anything, yeah, you could just have 6 in a row at one end. That's probably not ideal for your body. Imagine trying to eat 6 Mars bars in one go versus eating one every 20 minutes. Clearly, little and often is better. So on a longer ride, start fueling right from the start. Every 20 minutes, try and consume something. So what are you going to consume? Well, I've brought some examples along. First exhibit, a banana. Ideal for cycling and many other sports. Wonderful, full of carbohydrates, lots of minerals as well to replace some of the electrolytes you lose. Even comes in its own biodegradable packaging. That's a great start. If you want to go for something more solid, bars, great option. These are from Fuel 10K, one of the Dash sponsors. Shout out to them. All sorts of different bars available with every combination you can think of in terms of nuts, fruit, etc. Find ones you like. Try a range of different ones. You get them in Whole Foods stores. You get them in sports shops. Go to your local bike shop. See what other cyclists use. These are great. Tuck them in your pocket. They can be a bit of a fiddle to eat while you're riding along. So if you're going out and you know you're going to eat one, just tear open maybe both ends of the top, just a little bit, have it in your pocket, and then when you take it out, you can easily bite the top off and eat as you go along. If you don't like bars, these things have become quite popular. These are energy chews. So these are like sort of fruit pastels on steroids. There's a couple of different brands that are quite popular. These are Velo 40, Cliff Blocks, you'll see in most cycling shops. Again, try what your mates are riding with. If you can ride with someone, ask, can I just try one of those? Well, that's quite nice. I like that. Great. That's your one. Obviously, many different flavors, many different styles. Pick the one that suits you. And then the thing you probably see most on sort of cycling, if you ever watch any sort of pro cycling, gels. Couple of examples here. Again, these are Velo 40. This is a regular energy gel. This one has caffeine in it as well. So again, don't overdo the caffeine, but it can be useful for fatigue. And again, some people find gels a bit sensitive on their stomach, particularly if you're going to have, if you're going to get most of your source of energy from gels. You're going to have 3 of these an hour and you're out for 3 hours. 9 gels is quite a lot to have on an empty stomach. So I would suggest you try and mix it up a bit. Secondly, try them at home first. Don't go out on a big long ride the first time you've tried a new brand of gel and then find it's a bit iffy on your stomach. The important thing is aim for 3 things per hour. So that could be carbohydrate in your bottle, a bar and a gel, or carbohydrate in your bottle and a banana and a bar. Some mix like that. Try it out. You need to keep fueled. Obviously on the Dash, there are regular food stops, but as I said, imagine eating nothing for 2 hours and then eating 6 Mars bars. That's quite hard for your body to consume. Yes, fuel up at the rest stops. Make sure you have stuff with you and don't forget to drink. So I hope your training is going well. Any questions, please ask. Ride safely.